Hey guys, I hope everyone's doing well out there and keeping safe. Today I'm going to be taking a look at the Blackstar Silverline Standard. This amp came to me last week from the guys at Blackstar, and I've spent a couple of days just playing around with it and dialing in a few cool tones. But I thought it'd be really cool to reset all that back and show you guys what this thing can do from the ground up. It's so easy to dial a great tone in on this amp, so I thought I'd walk you through that process from literally plugging it in for the first time to getting it to sound awesome. This is the 1x10 combo version. It's a 20 watt amp. It's all digital, so there's not a valve in sight, which for me is quite an interesting topic because I love valves. And honestly, this thing is amazing. It's got a Celestian design speaker in there and it just sounds absolutely awesome. I've got the Aston Origin condenser mic in the front of it and I'm plugged straight in, so my Strat is going straight into the amp. And we're going to dial in a few tones. First thing we're going to look at is the voice switch. There's a 6-way selector switch. The first position is clean warm. So this is a nice full-bodied clean tone. So my EQ is currently set just straight up the middle. It's clean, everything's on 12 o'clock. I'm going to put a little bit of reverb on there as well. And there's also a response knob which allows you to select different valve types. So this is currently set to EL84s. So we've got a straight EQ, everything on 12, warm clean, EL84s, a little bit of reverb. Here's what it sounds like. Now the valve response knob on this is incredibly responsive, as the name would suggest. So if I just strum a chord and I switch through the 6 options, so we've got EL84, we've got 6V6, EL34, KT66, 6L6 and KT88. Now I'm not going to go through each one of those and bore you to death with the details, but I am going to strum a chord and flip through each one so you can hear the differences. So here is EL84. 6V6, EL34, KT66, L6, yep, 6L6, KT88. So each one of those has a very distinctive voice. Now this is the reason all your favorite big amps from all the big brands all have their own character, because it's the power amp tubes that create certain sounds between British voiced and American voiced amps. This has the best of all of those. So you can really dial in the power tube sound as well as one of the 6 voices. So if I flip back to the clean bright channel, I'm back on EL84s now, and I play the same sort of riff. There's a lot more twang to the tone. Now the EQ is all still set to midnight. We've got a crunch. Super crunch. Overdrive 1, this is where we start to get into the realms of a real loud pushed overdriven amp. This is going to be noisy because the pickups in this guitar are quite old now and they don't really like being this close to amps. So please excuse the noise. It's not the amp, it's the guitar. Finally, overdrive 2, we've got even more gain. So all of those were on the EL84 set. On the effects side of the amp, we've got 4 different types of reverb built in: room, hall, plate and spring. They're all accessible via the 4-way switch here, but each position of the 4-way switch has a degree of reverb you can dial in too. So I'm going to dial in a moderate spring reverb. So we're still on the KT66 setting on the clean warm channel. There's also a bunch of modulation effects built in. So we've got phaser on the first position. And the more I turn that knob, the more intense the effect gets. Position 2, we've got flanger. Position 3, we've got chorus. And position 4, we've got tremolo. There's also 4 different types of delay. So position 1 is the linear delay, and it's a tap tempo switch, so you can really dial this in. Position 2 is an analog delay. Position 3 is a tape delay. Position 4 is a multi-delay. Now the really cool thing with this amp is it's actually got some hidden controls. If I hold the tap tempo button down and I turn the bass knob, it increases the resonance of the cabinet. So the more I push this, the more resonant the cabinet. If I do this for the treble control, this is actually the presence control, and the ISF now doubles as the mid control. Right, let's switch over to a humbucker guitar now and get a couple of different tones. Here's one of my favourite tones I found in this amp. Crunch channel, KT88 setting, bass, middle, treble, resonance, all the way up. The gain is on maybe 3.5, and I'm recording this at quite a quiet volume. The master volume is only a quarter of the way up, and we've got a little bit of room reverb. This is a very 1960s Eric Clapton style tone. Can this thing do rock? Overdrive 1 channel, gain on about halfway, bass, middle and treble all sort of just past 12 o'clock, ISF all the way to the right, again, bit of room reverb. So as you can see, this amp is incredibly comprehensive. It does a ton of different stuff. It's got 1,000,001 tones in there, and you know, in this video I've only really scratched the surface of what we can do with it. So I'm going to leave you with this, another one of my favorite tones that I really enjoy dialing in this amp. Using the 6v6 setting and the crunch channel, you can dial in a very convincing tweed style amp sound. Now this is great for blues playing, so I would be very inclined to use this for a gig. There's nothing about this amp that I found that I don't like, which for me is quite rare because I love valve amps. There's just something about the warmth and depth of a real bunch of tubes in an amp that just make a guitar come alive. But this amp is actually the closest thing I've ever personally felt to a real valve amp. It actually has a lot of the same responses as a valve amp. It sort of feels like it sags a little bit when you play. It's incredibly reactive to dynamic playing, so the harder you play or the softer you play, the amp seems to react in the same way as the real thing would. So I'm very impressed. So here is my little tweed amp sound. I'll leave you with that. Thank you all so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe and the like button. That would mean the absolute world to me. And yeah, once again, the Blackstar Silverline is an incredible piece of kit. If you haven't checked one out already, please go to your local Blackstar supplier and try one, because I think you'll be impressed. This is, you know, it's not an expensive amp and it's not a big amp, but I would play this on stage in an instant. And from someone who has grown up and always loved the sound of real valve amps, this might have me sold, you know. Well done, Blackstar. See you guys soon.